Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Audio Levels channel, and today we have another review for you. We have a review of this. This is the Tin Hifi P1 Plus. This is the updated version of this, the original Tin Hifi P1, which is one of the most successful mid-entry level priced audiophile earphones with planar magnetic drivers. Stunning earphone, one that I use personally despite having access to a ton of very expensive, very high quality earphones. There's something about the P1 for me that I actually listen to it in my own personal time. You know, if I'm leaving the house, I'll take Tin Hifi P1. I've been doing that recently with the little iFi Go Blue app that I've got. And I just really like it. So if you're new to the Audio Levels channel, welcome. Please go ahead and subscribe if you like the content, like the video if you like it, comment down below, even comment down below looking for recommendations, leave your budget, leave your musical preferences and your source, and I'll get back to you with some recommendations. Yeah, we do a few things on this channel. We have the original reviews, so this is going to be a review of the Tin Hifi P1 Plus. After that, I'm going to release a video which is direct comparisons. I am a big believer in direct comparisons on earphones. I think it's stupid to just review an earphone, talk about how it has good soundstage depth, treble, blah, 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 because you're not giving context to people. You're not telling people exactly which one is better, why you would maybe want to buy one over the other. Direct comparisons, that's the way that I want to do it, because I think that helps people avoid buying bad earphones in the long run. And this is one of the most recommended earphones that I give around about that $200 price point. Anyway, let's get into this review. This is basically everything is kind of the same as the original Tin Hifi P1, and I'll just quickly go through that. You can go and check out the full unboxing that I uploaded a few days ago. This is the box that it comes in. It is unremarkable but pretty decent quality. You open it up and you have this case sitting down here and the earphones up top. Absolutely nothing remarkable about the box. I would say it's fairly good quality for the price, but this is one of the main differences in the overall package is the case. This was the original case. I have one of the worst cables on the planet there. Can anybody tell me in the comments down below what that is? That's the original case. You can see it's sort of patinaed nicely over age. It was sort of that colour. They've just switched to a sort of generic flip top case. You get a fair few decent ear tips in it, 3 different styles of ear tips in various different sizes. You get the warranty card, and of course you get the cable. The cable looks to be exactly the same as before. It is a straight 3.5mm jack with a little carbon fibre accent against the metal. It is a dual twist and dual twist, so it's actually quad twisting going on. They twist 2 braids and then they twist those 2 braids into another set of braids. After the splitter, it goes into just a standard dual twist. It's got quite long ear hooks on it, but that's fine. And something that I really like is that it's got MMCX connectors as the termination on it. I do prefer that personally over 2-pin connectors, and a lot of subscribers on the channel are going to know my reasons for preferring one over the other. Let's get the cases out the way. Let's get the cable out the way, and let's talk about the actual earphones themselves. I've left one ear tip on here so that I know which one's which. The Tin Hifi P1 Plus is this one on the left. Tin Hifi P1 Original is this one on the right. And if I pick up one of each, you can see that it is extremely similar. Any sort of variations in sort of thickness or anything just seems to be down to this one is a little bit more patinaed and aged over time. It's a little bit duller looking. Apart from that, there is very little difference. The only thing really stands out is that the grille has been changed to a little gold symbol. No changes on the MMCX. Overall body shape exactly the same, with the same sort of boring aesthetic to it. What they have claimed to change is the magnet setup on the planar magnetic driver. So if you don't know, planar magnetic drivers It's basically a diaphragm suspended. It's going really fast between magnets. It's a very thin strip of material that vibrates very fast, creates a very unique sound. It's super popular in over-the-ear headphones. You know, a lot of the big names are these Hi-Fi Man, all Dan Clark and so on. They all use planar magnetic drivers inside their earphones, and it gives a really unique sound. So when Tin Hi-Fi came out with the P1, it was super popular, and for good reason. It was, for me, it represented this type of earphone that punched so far above its weight, and that's a really harsh term, or a really loaded term to use in the audiophile hobby. A lot of people use it wrongly, just when they're jumping on hype trains, but this is one for me that stood the test of time, maybe 2-3 years since it's been released, and it's in my constant rotation all the time, alongside things like the Campfire Audio Solaris, the Fearless Audio Roland, the Oracle, the Monarch, and so on. I still go back and I pick up the Tin Hi-Fi P1. Now, it's not the perfect all-rounder headphone. The problem with the P1 was always that it needed a lot of power to sound good. It needed a lot of power to be driven correctly and reach its full potential. So if you were buying it at that price, at $150, $170, you were kind of needing to have at least $100 worth of amp or DAC or an E1DA or something like that to drive it to its full potential. And you know, does that kind of made it a more expensive earphone depending on the amp and DAC. If you already had an amp or DAC, that wasn't so much a consideration, but I always had to be considerate when I was recommending people what's the best earphone at this price. So I'm like, the Tin Hi-Fi P1, but you're going to have to spend extra if you don't already have a DAC. There's no change in that here. These still take a lot of power to drive to their full potential. Let's talk comfort and build quality. Let's just say metal body, build quality fine, medium depth insertion fine, very small housing fine. I have no problem. The only issue is that it's slightly boring looking. Now, the thing that people want to get into in terms of the sound, what is different in this? And I'm going to say not a lot at all. Not a lot that you would really notice from day-to-day listening. I can't really stress that enough. I've been going back and forth. Same songs, different songs, like every genre I've been throwing at it. And the only real noticeable difference I can detect is something going on in the treble. The treble in the original P1 had this really weird dip in presentation to it. It wasn't bad per se. I actually really liked it, and the more I listened to it, the more I became used to it, and that's something you got to consider when you're buying headphones with burn-in. I don't believe in burn-in per se, but I believe in brain burn, allowing your brain to adapt to a new sound, and so that sound becomes normal. It's like becoming an acquired taste. And I actually really liked the treble performance on this. The bass, everybody always said, was a little bit on the low side. I really liked the bass as well. I thought the bass was in no way lacking. I just thought it wasn't as impactful as a bass-heavy earphone. I thought for classical jazz, rock, metal, that sort of stuff, these earphones absolutely rocked. Now this one I would say it's just got that slight change in the treble that makes it so it's more suited to a more normal tuning, I would say. It's not got that sort of, what's going on there kind of presentation to it. It's just a more smoother, rounded off treble presentation. In terms of bass, maybe it could just be my mind playing tricks on me because the whole thing of like, at the start people were talking about the lack of bass when this originally released. It's probably placebo that I'm getting, and I'm quite honest that if I'm going to feel like something's placebo, it might be there might be a slight little extension or a slightly extra gain added onto the low end of it, but it's really similar. It's really similar through the mid-range as well. The only thing, maybe a slight gain bump, which like makes the midfield just slightly below, but I don't think that's really the case. I think that might just be my brain, and that is somewhere, where somebody who's going to graph these, it's going to be quite useful. The thing going on here is, did Tin Hifi need to do this? I don't know. Tin's a weird company, right? Because Tin produce all these headphones and earphones, and they release like the Tin T2, T2 Plus, T2 Evo, T3, T4, T4 Plus, blah. They just keep beating a dead horse and just don't let their products stand the test of time. If you never produced this and just left this on the market, absolutely no problem at all. Absolutely no problem. This is a stunning earphone in its own right. I don't think that this is definitively better. I think this is a side grade. And Tin Hifi are guilty of doing this. They release something, because this is how it works. This is how the chi-fi market and the forums and everything that drives you crazy, this is how it works. You'll hear about an announcement, everybody will hype the living bejesus out of it, everybody will get really, really worked up about it, a bunch of people come out and say it's the greatest thing ever, then a bunch of contrarians come out, and not really because, for a lot of times, not really because they think it's a bad earphone, but they'll kind of bash it, and then it will sort of fall into the middle ground, so you get this massive sales spike. Tin will think, oh yes, we're onto something here, we're absolutely killing it here. I mean, I don't watch or read reviews anymore, but I assume the exact same thing's happening with the Timeless, because I see it popping up everywhere. I assume the same thing's going to happen with the Timeless. Everybody's going to say, oh wow, this is the best thing ever, and somebody will be like, no, that's too much bass, that's too much, I don't like how it presents this, then it will fall off again. What most smart companies will do is just let their products stand the test of time. You know, when Tin released this, they probably expected X amount of sales figures. They didn't expect that massive peak right up at the top where they got this insane sales volume right at the start. Instead, they're trying to catch another wave. That's what Tin seem to do, is try and catch the wave again. And they try and do it by getting people who have got the Tin, let's say the Tin T2, and they release the Tin T2 Plus. But the Tin 2, was it the 2 or the 3, the T3s or the T2s? They kept releasing ones that were completely different tunings and side grades. This is better. I'm not saying a better earphone. Technically, it's probably a better earphone. I'm going to say that. Technically. It's just that I'm so used to this. Tin would change the tuning to the point that, you know, a T2 person going to another is basically just buying a completely different tuned earphone in the same body. This one, thank God, they've kept very, very, very true. It's very hard to distinguish between the presentation, both super detailed, both that super holographic soundstage and stuff. Only sort of thing is, I would say that they fixed the treble. But they didn't need to do it. They really didn't. And it kind of falls into this weird category of, in this case, I think they have made a technical improvement, so I'm going to let it pass. But had they just let this earphone stand its test of time, it would do. But what they are trying to do is they're trying to catch people who got the original Tin P1, loved it, and then they're releasing this shiny, new, more refined, blah, 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 and hope that they catch that wave yet again. So that brings me to the recommendations on this. Should you buy the Tin Hifi P1 Plus? Well, I think yes. I think if it's the choice between the two, I would say, because of technicalities, yes. There's really not a lot of difference when you listen to them. There's really not. But if you already own the original P1, should you spend money and upgrade on it? Absolutely not. So don't do that. If you own the original P1 and you're enjoying them, just keep enjoying them. This is not a, hey, new shiny, better you know, it's a side grade. It's the same earphone with slightly different treble tuning. Very slightly different treble tuning. The rest of it's the exact same. Same box, same cable, same everything. The big one is going to be when I do the comparisons between the timeless 7Hz. I will say I still prefer the Tin Hifi P1s over the timeless 7Hz, although I really rate the 7Hz. You need to get this into your head that these are outstanding. A lot of people have been messaging me about other things, about where do you put certain earphones. And I think people don't understand how hard it is for companies to make a really bad headphone these days, or even a medium headphone. So that's why we do the comparison. So you can expect the comparison video. I'm going to do all three of them together in the comparison video. Leave a comment down below if you want to see it compared to something else, maybe a non-planar earphone that you want to see it go up against. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm maybe going to grab one extra hybrid earphone under $300, maybe the LZA4 Pro, which I really like. And we'll talk about them all together in the next video, which might be up today or might be up tomorrow. So I'm going to cut this one short because there's not a lot to talk about. It's just a P1 with slightly revised treble. Not much difference. Still one of the best earphones you can buy under $300-400. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.